Marvel's Illuminati is made up of some of the biggest brains from all of the different superheroic areas across the Marvel Universe. But just who has been considered some of the most brilliant and most powerful enough to join their ranks? Join me as we count down the top 10 most powerful Illuminati members. Number 10. Beast. Beast was actually chosen to replace another member of the Illuminati. He was given hidden telepathic memories, which would awaken upon the death of the man he was meant to be replacing. Hank McCoy is known for his genius intellect and is also quite strong and quite dexterous, often referred to as the bouncing blue beast. He specializes in genetics, electronics, and of course biochemistry. In fact, he became blue as a result of him ingesting a serum that he had created which altered his biochemistry, and after not managing to take the antidote for said serum in time, making his secondary mutation permanent. The man and mutant that the Beast would replace on the team was Professor X, who placed hidden telepathic prompts in Hank's mind. When Professor X did die, Beast was then compelled to enter his secret room, where the Mind Stone and evidence of his participation in the Illuminati were hidden, just as the rest of the Illuminati team arrived, who were assembling the Infinity Gauntlet at the time. What perfect timing. He's like, I feel like I should go into this room and maybe join the Illuminati. Oh, there they are. Oh, hey guys. Number 9. Professor X. One of the most gifted telepaths in the Marvel Universe, it should not be surprising that Professor Charles Xavier has been asked to, and at times agreed to, join up with the Illuminati. Also, although we don't talk about it as much, Charles is also super smart, and not just because he's a telepath or anything like that. He's well educated and seems to have a penchant for inventing as well. Back in the early days of the X-Men series, he's pretty much constantly creating devices on the fly to help combat evil foes, and builds and rebuilds Cerebro when it is destroyed. Pretty wild stuff, really. And then of course there's the stuff that we generally associate him with when it comes to his intellect, such as genetics and mutation. He also is an adept strategist and often comes up with ways to outsmart even the most unstoppable of villains. Number 8. Black Bolt. While the Inhumans don't often get a ton of love when it comes to their popularity amidst the other superhero factions, Black Bolt is one hero who tends to still stand out and stand strong when it comes to their ranks. And you cannot deny that even if he's not the most well-known superhero, he's still one of the most powerful. As an Inhuman, his power, which he received after being exposed to the Terrigen Mist, is in his voice. He can basically emit like a strong concussive blast by just uttering a whisper. Because of this, Black Bolt typically doesn't speak normally, but instead communicates through physicality and telepathically, often through one of his wives, his main wife really, the Inhuman Medusa. Medusa in fact was also a member of the Illuminati, though sadly she wasn't quite powerful enough to make the cut for our list this time around. But still, I'm glad I got to mention her, because I was like, there's not even any ladies on this list. Although traditionally the Illuminati in the Marvel world is pretty male dominant. That's okay. Their wives show up at one point to be like, what are you guys doing? What is this? This is a mess. Let's not do this. Wives/partners. Number 7. Black Panther. When T'Challa was initially approached to join the Illuminati, he said no. He thought it was a bad idea to try and put together a group of geniuses who thought they knew better than everyone else. And I gotta say, I kind of agree with T'Challa. However, when facing the threat of the incursions, it was then that he actually saw the value in the big brain, all-powerful group, as a team of heroes who could basically use their combined brain power, muscles, influence, and experience to try and save the Earth and possibly other alternate Earths as well. Black Panther is known for his genius-level intellect as well as his skills in combat. He is highly experienced and trained, and also has the powers of Black Panther as a result of exposure to the heart-shaped herb. Not only that, but Black Panther also works hard every day to improve his already impressive abilities and skills, constantly challenging himself to do more and be even better. He also typically comes with like the entire force of Wakanda, since he's usually leading Wakanda, so there's also that. And he's a really good leader, so yeah. Number 6. Mr. Fantastic. When it comes to intelligence, Reed Richards is believed to be one of the most brilliant minds around in the Marvel Universe. It is for this reason that he was approached to join the Illuminati group. He was also part of the precursor event that basically helped to inspire the creation of this team, when he and some of the other most powerful heroes from Earth decided to confront the King of Skrullos to basically tell him to ensure that the Skrull forces leave the Earth alone. They were like, don't mess with us. Of course, this ended up resulting resulting in him and other heroes being captured by the Skrulls for a time and experimented on before escaping. Yeah, not the best plan, it turns out. Still, despite the fact that not all plans that he's been a part of have gone smoothly, the fact remains that Reed is still an influential figure who is also a super genius. Plus, he's got stretching powers. No one ever wants to acknowledge how useful those can be because, I mean, they are kind of ridiculous, but there are many times that Reed has actually used his power set to save the day, and at times, the world. Number 5. Captain Britain. Brian Braddock, you could say, hails from the more mystical realm of Marvel. Initially known as Captain Britain, Brian now goes by the name of Captain Avalon, as Betsy has taken up and kept his mantle even after dying and kind of being resurrected while wielding it. But I believe during the time he was on the Illuminati team, I think we still called him Captain Britain, so hence why I'm using that name here. Brian might not be the first person you think of when you think of genius level intellect, but he ended up being imbued with all the knowledge and secrets of the Starlight Citadel when he was sent back from Otherworld to Earth 616, just as the incursions were becoming a major problem. As such, he ended up being invited onto the Illuminati team to help them figure out how to combat the seeming unstoppable and growing threat of the incursions. It should also be noted that Brian Braddock is actually super smart, even without the valuable Starlight Citadel knowledge. He possesses a genius level intellect and is a scientist who specializes in engineering and physics. I feel like we don't talk about that a lot, but that is definitely a thing Brian has. He is a scientist. Number 4. Namor. Namor is Marvel's first superhero and mutant who, despite his historical significance, often falls by the wayside. I mean, we don't even have Namor in the MCU yet. What's up with that? Where is he? Still, the King of Atlantis has proven to be a powerful ally and very valuable asset to the Illuminati team. In fact, when Black Panther couldn't bring himself to follow through on a plan to blow up an alternate Earth to prevent the destruction of Earth 616 in the face of the incursions, it was Namor who pressed that fated detonation button, willing to do whatever it took to try and keep the Earth safe. Granted, his intense determination and somewhat lack of morals is also what makes Namor a sometimes villain and often more anti-hero than straight up hero, which really just means he's often more interesting and complex than your standard superhero fare. Namor himself is not necessarily a super genius like most others on the Illuminati team, but he is quite skilled when it comes to tactics, modifying Atlantean tech, and of course, diplomacy, as so many rulers are. They're like, I know how to be diplomatic. Although I feel like Namor maybe isn't the best at being diplomatic compared to some other people on this list. Number 3. Iron Man. I mean, at this point, thanks in large part due to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the whole world knows of the genius that is Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. Not only does his genius fuel his power, as it's how he's able to make his armor, but in the MCU it also helped him to crack the code of time travel, which is pretty crazy. In fact, Stark was actually the one to think of the idea to create a team of powerful and brilliant super-heroic leaders of various different types of factions in an attempt to create a sort of secret superhero government in a way, in the comics. His plan was to create a sort of ruling body that could guide others in the superhero community, using their minds together to figure out the best course of action when it came to larger looming threats and how to deal with those threats. However, this didn't entirely work out as he planned, but the team did end up uniting, agreeing at the very least that it would be a good idea to remain connected when it came to the exchange of information. And of course it did lead to them teaming up to do things eventually. Number 2. Doctor Strange. Known for being the master of mysticism, when it comes to the magical side of Marvel, there is almost no one who can rival the Sorcerer Supreme. While he hasn't always held the title of Sorcerer Supreme, Dr. Stephen Strange has proven his mettle as a magic user. Even when he is without magic, he still manages to be a force to be reckoned with, instead sometimes relying on magical artifacts to give him that needed power boost. Steven is resourceful and knowledgeable, and he's got magic, which definitely makes him one of the most powerful heroes on the Illuminati team, and within the Marvel universe. I just think magic is like a whole area of the superhero realm that is hard to beat when it comes to power, as it can kind of allow you to do, well, pretty much anything, whatever you need it to allow you to do, as long as you know how to use that magic and you have that knowledge. It's kind of like having all the powers in one. Like I said though, as long as you have the magical skills and the magical knowledge. although Strange definitely does have those things. Number 1. Hulk/Bruce Banner. Despite the Illuminati actually kind of being the ones behind shooting off the Hulk into space, where he would then end up landing and living on Sakaar, finding happiness there for a brief time before it was all basically destroyed, Bruce Banner too also has been a member of the Illuminati. I know it seems a little surprising. Of course, this was more a Bruce Banner thing than a Hulk thing. At the time, Banner was more in control when it came to his changes into the Hulk as well. Banner ends up recruited by the Illuminati in the face of the incursions, like so many members before and after him. Desperate to stop their world and countless others from being destroyed, Bruce is recruited for his brilliant intellect. While not physically strong compared to the Hulk, mentally Banner is one of the strongest around. And if we're talking physically, then the Hulk has that covered. Bruce Banner has been said to be the most brilliant nuclear scientist on Earth before, and has also been known to dabble in other areas of science with his super genius intellect, including biology, engineering, and architecture. He's also believed to really be the only expert scientist in the very, very narrow field of radiation-based mutation. Well, I say narrow field, but maybe in comics not such a narrow field? Who do you think should get invited to join the Illuminati? Are you excited to potentially meet the Illuminati in Marvel's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, at least in the MCU? Are you a fan of the Illuminati, or do you feel that this group is too powerful and egotistical to exist, and that they should basically just disband all the time? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I'm your host Amanda McKnight. Until next time, stay nerdy, YouTube.